All right, let's talk about one of the biggest crises of our time, the environmental crisis. But we're going to look at it from a completely different angle, a perspective that's over 1,400 years old. We're going to dive into how an ancient faith offers a surprisingly modern and really comprehensive blueprint for protecting our planet. When we talk about climate change, the conversation usually turns to science, technology, policy. But what if a really powerful environmental ethic has been hiding in plain sight this whole time, right inside one of the world's major religions? Today, we're digging deep into the primary sources of Islam to uncover its core environmental teachings. So, where does all this begin? Well, the entire Islamic environmental ethic really hinges on one single foundational idea. It's a very specific and incredibly powerful definition of humanity's role right here on this planet. It all comes down to this one concept: Khalifah. Now, you gotta understand, this isn't about ownership, not at all. The Quranic view is that humans are appointed as stewards, as caretakers, or you could say trustees. We don't own the planet. We're more like deputies tasked with managing it responsibly. And this role, man, it comes with this huge responsibility called the Amanah, or the sacred trust. The idea is that the earth and literally everything on it is a trust from God. This means that degrading the environment isn't just irresponsible, it's actually a profound betrayal of that sacred trust. But this idea of being a caretaker, that's really just the starting point. The Quranic worldview doesn't just define our role, it completely reframes how we're supposed to see the natural world itself. Now, you might read that and think, wow, that's beautiful poetry. But here's the thing. In Islamic theology, this is meant to be taken literally. The belief is that all of creation, from the mountains to the trees to every living creature, is in a constant state of worship. Nature isn't just some inert material for us to use. It's a living, breathing community of fellow worshipers. And the implication of that? It's profound. Think about it. If every element of nature is praising God, then destroying a forest is like silencing a choir. Polluting a river is like harming a fellow worshiper. All of a sudden, environmental protection is no longer just a practical issue. It becomes a deeply spiritual one. Okay, so if nature is sacred, what does the Quran say about actually harming it? Well, it uses a very specific and very powerful term for that. That term is fasad, which means corruption or mischief on the earth. And what's really striking is how the Quran defines it. See, this isn't some vague, abstract idea. It is explicitly linked to the destruction of crops and animals. And then you get to this verse, which for so many Islamic environmentalists today feels almost prophetic. It draws a crystal clear line between the corruption we see on land and sea and our own actions. The message is just unavoidable. This crisis isn't some abstract problem. It is a direct result of the choices we have made. Okay, so we've talked about these big theological ideas. But how did this actually play out in real life? Let's shift from the principles to the practical, lived example of the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. How did these ideas translate into action? I mean, just listen to this story. It's such a powerful lesson in conservation. Even when a resource seems absolutely endless, like a flowing river, the prohibition against waste, or israf, is total. It establishes this core ethic of moderation in everything. And it goes way beyond just water. The prophetic teachings really lay out what you could call a complete green agenda. Planting trees is seen as an act of ongoing charity. Animal welfare is absolutely critical. There's a reward for serving any living creature and a flat-out ban on using animals for sport. The message couldn't be clearer. Caring for the earth is central to the faith. And get this, the tradition also included these really practical policy ideas. One of them is the concept of hima. This was, for all intents and purposes, an early form of a national park, or a conservation zone, set up by the state to protect land and let entire ecosystems recover. And the system was brilliant in its simplicity, really. The state would identify and protect land for the public good, they'd prevent it from being overused or exploited, and then they just allow nature to heal. It's no wonder so many scholars today see this 1,400-year-old system as a potential faith-based model for modern conservation. So, we've covered stewardship, we've talked about nature being sacred, and we've even looked at practical rules. Now let's zoom out to the big, overarching idea that ties absolutely everything together. And that idea is mizan, or the balance. The Quranic worldview is that the entire universe, from the atmosphere and the water cycle to the tiniest ecosystems,
is created in this perfect, delicate, intricate equilibrium.
And right here, the Quran issues a direct, unambiguous command. It says God established this cosmic balance, and our job is not to disrupt it. This means things like climate change, pollution, and mass extinction are all seen as violations, transgressions against this divinely ordained balance. So, to put it all together, the Islamic environmental ethic is really built on these core pillars. We are stewards, not owners. Nature is a sacred, worshiping community. Destroying it is a form of forbidden corruption. Waste is considered a sin, and our ultimate duty is to maintain the cosmic balance. And that really leaves us with a heavy question, doesn't it? The sources are clear that a balance was established for the planet. The challenge they present to us today is, will our legacy be one of breaking that balance, or will we be the ones who help restore it? That's all for this explainer. Thanks for joining me.